Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So I'll be reading a chapter and some question and answers out of Bodhinyana. Starting with Just Do It on page 161. Just keep breathing in and out like this. Don't be interested in anything else. It doesn't matter even if someone is standing on their head with their ass in the air. Don't pay any attention. Just stay with the in-breath and the out-breath. Concentrate your awareness on the breath. Just keep doing it. Don't take up anything else. There is no need to think about gaining things. Don't take up anything at all. Simply know the in-breath and the out-breath. The in-breath and the out-breath. Bud on the in-breath, toe on the out-breath. Just stay with the breath in this way until you are aware of the in-breath and aware of the out-breath. Aware of the in-breath, aware of the out-breath. Be aware in this way until the mind is peaceful, without irritation, without agitation, merely the breath going out and coming in. Let your mind remain in this state. You don't need a goal yet. It's this state that is the first stage of practice. If the mind is at ease, if it is at peace, then it will be naturally aware. As you keep doing it, the breath diminishes, becomes softer. The body becomes pliable. The mind becomes pliable. It's a natural process. Sitting is comfortable. You're not dull. You don't nod. You're not sleepy. The mind has a natural fluency about whatever it does. It is still. It is at peace. And then when you leave the samadhi, you say to yourself, wow, what was that? You recall the peace that you've just experienced, and you never forget it. The thing which follows along with us is called sati, the power of recollection, and sampajanya, self-awareness. Whatever we say or do, wherever we go, on alms round or whatever, in eating the meal, washing our bowl, then be aware of it, then be aware of what it's all about. Be constantly mindful. Follow the mind. When you're practicing walking meditation, have a walking path, say from one tree to another, about 50 feet in length. Walking chankama is the same as sitting meditation. Focus your awareness. Now I'm going to put forth effort. With strong recollection and self-awareness, I'm going to pacify my mind. The object of concentration depends on the person. Find what suits you. Some people spread metta to all sentient beings and then leading with their right foot, walk at a normal pace, using the mantra Bud toe in conjunction with the walking. Continually be aware of that object. If the mind becomes agitated, then stop. Calm the mind and then resume walking, constantly self-aware. Aware at the beginning of the path, aware at every stage of the path, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Make this knowing continuous. This is a method, focusing on walking chankama. Walking chankama means walking to and fro. It's not easy. Some people see us walking up and down and think we're crazy. They don't realize that walking chankama gives rise to great wisdom. Walk to and fro. If you're tired, then stand and still your mind. Focus on making the breathing comfortable. When it is reasonably comfortable, then switch the attention to walking again. The postures change by themselves. Standing, walking, sitting, lying down. They change. We can't just sit all the time, stand all the time, or lie down all the time. We have to spend our time with these different postures. Make all the 4 postures beneficial. This is the action. We just keep doing it. It's not easy. To make it easy to visualize, take this glass and set it down here for 2 minutes. When the 2 minutes are up, then move it over there for two minutes. Then move it over here for 2 minutes. Keep doing that. Do it again and again until you start to suffer, until you doubt, until wisdom arises. What am I thinking about? Lifting a glass backwards and forwards like a madman. The mind will think in its habitual way according to the phenomena. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. Just keep lifting that glass. Every 2 minutes, okay. Don't daydream, not 5 minutes. As soon as 2 minutes are up, then move it over here. Focus on that. This is the matter of action. Looking at the in-breaths and the out-breaths is the same. Sit with your right foot resting on your left leg. Sit straight. Watch the inhalation to its full extent until it completely disappears in the abdomen. When the inhalation is complete, then allow the breath out until the lungs are empty. Don't force it. It doesn't matter how long or short or soft the breath is. Let it be just right for you. Sit and watch the inhalation and the exhalation. Make yourself comfortable with that. Don't allow your mind to get lost. If it gets lost, then stop. Look to see where it's got to. Why is it not following the breath? Go after it and bring it back. Get it to stay with the breath, and without doubt, one day you will see the reward. Just keep doing it. Do it as if you won't gain anything, as if nothing will happen, as if you don't know who's doing it, but keep doing it anyway. Like rice in the barn. You take it out and sow it in the fields, as if you were throwing it away. Sow it throughout the fields without being interested in it, and yet it sprouts. Rice plants grow up. You transplant it, and you've got sweet green rice. That's what it's about. This is the same. Just sit there. Sometimes you might think, why am I watching the breath so intently? Even if I didn't watch it, it would still keep going in and out. Well, you'll always find something to think about. That's a view. It is an expression of the mind. Forget it. Keep trying over and over again and make the mind peaceful. Once the mind is at peace, the breath will diminish. The body will become relaxed. The mind will become subtle. They will be in a state of balance until it will seem as if there is no breath, but nothing happens to you. When you reach this point, don't panic. Don't get up and run out because you think you've just stopped breathing. It just means that your mind is at peace. You don't have to do anything. Just sit there and look at whatever is present. Sometimes you may wonder, hey, am I breathing? This is the same mistake. It is the thinking mind. Whatever happens, allow things to take their natural course, no matter what feeling arises. Know it, look at it. But don't be deluded by it. Keep doing it. Do it often. After the meal, air your robe on a line and get straight out onto the walking meditation path. Keep thinking Buddho. Think it all the time that you're walking. Concentrate on the word Buddho as you walk. Wear the path down. Wear it down until it's a trench and it's halfway up your calves or up to your knees. Just keep walking. It's not just strolling along in a perfunctory way, thinking about this and that for the length of the path, and then going up into your hut and then looking at your sleeping mat. How inviting. Then laying down and snoring away like a pig. If you do that, you won't get anything from the practice at all. Keep doing it until you're fed up and then see how far that laziness goes. Keep looking until you come to the end of laziness. Whatever it is you experience, you have to go all the way through it before you overcome it. It's not as if you can just repeat the word peace to yourself, and then as soon as you sit, you expect peace will arise like at the click of a switch. And when it doesn't, then you give up, lazy. If that's the case, you'll never be peaceful. It's easy to talk about and hard to do. It's like monks who are thinking of disrobing, saying, rice farming doesn't seem so difficult to me. I'd be better off as a rice farmer. They start farming without knowing about cows or buffaloes, harrows or plows, nothing at all. They find out that when you talk about farming, it sounds easy, but when you actually try it, you get to know exactly how the difficulties arise. Everyone would like to search for peace in that way. Actually, peace does not lie right there, but you don't know it yet. You can follow after it. You can talk about it as much as you like, but you won't know what it is. So do it. Follow it until you know in pace with the breath, concentrating on the breath using the mantra, Buddho, just that much. Don't let the mind wander off anywhere else. At this time, have this knowing. Do this. Study just this much. Just keep doing it in this way. If you start thinking that nothing is happening, just carry on anyway. Just carry on regardless, and you will get to know the breath. Okay, so give it a try. If you sit in this way and the mind gets the hang of it, the mind will reach an optimum, just right state. When the mind is peaceful and the self-awareness arises naturally, When the mind is peaceful, the self-awareness arises naturally. Then if you want to sit right through the night, you feel nothing, because the mind is enjoying itself. When you get this far, when you're good at it, then you might find you want to give Dhamma talks to your friends until the cows come home. That's how it goes sometimes. It's like the time when poor Sang was still a postulant. One night he'd been walking Chankima and then began to sit. His mind became lucid and sharp. He wanted to expound the Dhamma. He couldn't stop. I heard the sound of someone teaching over in that bamboo grove, really belting it out. I thought, is that someone giving a Dhamma talk? Or is it the sound of someone complaining about something? It didn't stop. So I got out my flashlight and went over to have a look. I was right. There in the bamboo grove, sitting cross-legged in the light of a lantern, was poor Sang, talking so fast I couldn't keep up. So I called out to him, "Poor Sang, have you gone crazy?" He said, "I don't know what it is. I just want to talk the Dhamma. I sit down and I've got to talk. I walk and I've got to talk. I've just got to expound the Dhamma all the time. I don't know where it's going to end." I thought to myself, when people practice the Dhamma, there's no limit to the things that can happen. So keep doing it. Don't stop. Don't follow your moods. Go against the grain. Practice when you feel lazy and practice when you feel diligent. Practice when you're sitting and practice when you're walking. When you lay down, focus on your breathing and tell yourself, "I will not indulge in the pleasure of laying down." Teach your heart in this way. Get up as soon as you awaken and carry on putting forth effort. Eating, tell yourself, "I eat this food not with craving, but as medicine, to sustain my body for a day and a night, only in order that I may continue my practice." When you lay down, then teach your mind. When you eat, then teach your mind. Maintain that attitude constantly. If you're going to stand up, then be aware of that. If you're going to lay down, then be aware of that. Whatever you do, then be aware. When you lie down, lie on your right side and focus on the breath, using the mantra, Buddho, until you fall asleep. Then when you wake up, it's as if Buddho has been there all the time. It's not been interrupted. For peace to arise, there needs to be mindfulness there all the time. Don't go looking at other people. Don't be interested in other people's affairs. Just be interested in your own affairs. When you do sitting meditation, sit straight. Don't lean your head too far back or too far forwards. Keep a balanced, just right posture like the Buddha image. Then your mind will be bright and clear. Endure for as long as you can before changing your posture. If it hurts, let it hurt. Don't be in a hurry to change your position. Don't think to yourself, "Oh, it's too much." Take a rest. Patiently endure until the pain has reached a peak. Then endure some more. Endure until you can't keep up the mantra Buddho. Then take the point where it hurts as your object. Oh, pain, pain, real pain. You can make the pain your meditation object rather than Buddho. Focus on it constantly. Keep sitting. When the pain has reached its limit, see what happens. The Buddha said that pain arises by itself and disappears by itself. Let it die. Don't give up. Sometimes you may break out in a sweat, big beads, as large as corn kernels, rolling down your chest. But when you've passed through painful feeling once, then you will know it all about it. Keep doing it. Don't push yourself too much. Just keep steadily practicing. Be aware while you're eating. You chew and swallow. Where does the food go to? Know what foods agree with you and what foods disagree. Try gauging the amount of food. As you eat, keep looking, and when you think that after another 5 mouthfuls you will be full, then stop and drink some water, and you will have eaten just the right amount. Try it. See whether or not you can do it. But that's not the way we usually do it. When we feel full, we take another 5 mouthfuls. That's what the mind tells us. It doesn't know how to teach itself. The Buddha told us to keep watching as we eat. Stop 5 mouthfuls before you're full and drink some water, and it will be just right. If you sit or walk afterwards, then you don't feel heavy. Your meditation will improve. But we don't want to do it. We're full up, and we take another 5 mouthfuls. That's the way that craving and defilement is. It goes a different way from the teaching of the Buddha. Someone who lacks a genuine wish to train their minds will be unable to do it. Keep watching your mind. Be vigilant with sleep. Your success will depend on being aware of the skillful means. Sometimes the time you go to sleep may vary. Some nights you have an early night and other times a late night. But try practicing like this. Whatever time you go to sleep, just sleep at one stretch. As soon as you wake up, then get up immediately. Don't go back to sleep. Whether you sleep a lot or a little, just sleep at one stretch. Make a resolution that as soon as you wake up, even if you haven't had enough sleep, you will get up, wash your face, and then start to walk chankama or sit meditation. Know how to train yourself in this way. It's not something you can know through listening to someone else. You will know through training yourself, through practice, through doing it. And so I tell you to practice. This practice of the heart is difficult. When you are doing sitting meditation, then let your mind have only one object. Let it stay with the in-breath and the out-breath, and your mind will gradually become calm. If your mind is in turmoil, then it will have many objects. For instance, as soon as you sit, do you think of your home? Some people think of eating Chinese noodles. When you're first ordained, you feel hungry, don't you? You want to eat and drink. You think about all kinds of food. Your mind is going crazy. If that's what's going to happen, then let it. But as soon as you overcome it, then it will disappear. Do it. Have you ever walked chankama? What was it like as you walked? Did your mind wander? If it did, then stop and let it come back. If it wanders off a lot, then don't breathe. Hold your breath until your lungs are about to burst. It will come back by itself, no matter how bad it is. If it's racing around all over the place, then hold your breath. As your lungs are about to burst, your mind will return. You must energize the mind. Training the mind isn't like training animals. The mind is truly hard to train. Don't be easily discouraged. If you hold your breath, you will be unable to think of anything, and the mind will run back to you of its own accord. It's like the water in this bottle. When we tip it out slowly, then the water drips out. Drip, drip, drip. But when we tip the bottle up further, the water runs out in a continuous stream, not in separate drops as before. Our mindfulness is similar. If we accelerate our efforts, practice in an even, continuous way, the mindfulness will be uninterrupted like a stream of water. No matter whether we are standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, that knowledge is uninterrupted, flowing like a stream of water. Our practice of the heart is like this. After a moment, it's thinking of this and thinking of that. It is agitated, and mindfulness is not continuous. But whatever it thinks about, never mind. Just keep putting forth an effort. It will be like the drops of water that become more frequent until they join up and become a stream. Then our knowledge will be encompassing. Standing, sitting, walking, or laying down, whatever you are doing, this knowing will look after you. Start right now. Give it a try, but don't hurry. If you just sit there watching to see what will happen, then you'll be wasting your time. So be careful. If you try too hard, then you won't be successful. But if you don't try at all, then you won't be successful either. I think I'll just read a couple short kind of Q&As to follow that. So it's just continuing, page 177. Question. I'm trying very hard in my practice, but don't seem to be getting anywhere. Answer. This is very important. Don't try to get anywhere in the practice. The very desire to be free or to be enlightened will be the desire that prevents your freedom. You can try as hard as you wish, practice ardently night and day, but if it is still with the desire to achieve in mind, you will never find peace. The energy from this desire will be a cause for doubt and restlessness. No matter how long or how hard you practice, wisdom will not arise from desire. So, simply let go. Watch the mind and body mindfully, but don't try to achieve anything. Don't cling even to the practice of enlightenment. Question. What about sleep? How much should I sleep? Answer. Don't ask me. I can't tell you. A good average for some is 4 hours a night. What is important, though, is that you watch and know yourself. If you try to go with too little sleep, the body will feel uncomfortable and mindfulness will be difficult to sustain. Too much sleep leads to a dull or restless mind. Find the natural balance for yourself. Carefully watch the mind and body and keep track of sleep needs until you find the optimum. If you wake up and then roll over for a snooze, this is defilement. Establish mindfulness as soon as your eyes open. Question. How about eating? How much should I eat? Answer. Eating is the same as sleeping. You must know yourself. Food must be consumed to meet bodily needs. Look at your food as medicine. Are you eating so much that you only feel sleepy after the meal? And are you getting fatter every day? Stop. Examine your own body and mind. There is no need to fast. Instead, experiment with the amount of food you take. Find the natural balance for your body. Put all your food together in your bowl following the ascetic practice. Then you can easily judge the amount you take. Watch yourself carefully as you eat. Know yourself. The essence of our practice is just this. There is nothing special you must do. Only watch. Examine yourself. Watch the mind. Then you will know what is the natural balance for your own practice. Skipping a couple, page 180. Question. Why don't we have daily interviews with the teacher? If you have any questions, you're welcome to come and ask them anytime, but we don't need daily interviews here. If I answer your every little question, you will never understand the process of doubt in your own mind. It is essential that you learn to examine yourself, to interview yourself. Listen carefully to the lecture every few days, and then use the teaching to compare with your own practice. Is it still the same? Is it different? Why do you have doubts? Who is it that doubts? Only through self-examination can you understand. Page 182. What can I do about doubts? Some days I'm plagued with doubts about the practice or my own progress, or the teacher. Answer. Doubting is natural. Everyone starts out with doubts. You can learn a great deal from them. What is important is that you don't identify with your doubts. That is, don't get caught up with them. This will spin your mind in endless circles. Instead, watch the whole process of doubting, of wondering. See who it is that doubts. See how doubts come and go. Then you will no longer be victimized by your doubts. You will step outside of them and your mind will be quiet. You can see how all things come and go. Just let go of what you are attached to. Let go of your doubts and simply watch. This is how to end doubting. I think I'll just leave it there.
I think that particular talk addresses just so many things that happen over and over and over again for us. Like the whole idea of I'm not getting anywhere in my practice. That's like a very, very common thing. Even if you've heard talks like this 100 or 1,000 times before, it still keeps coming up. Yeah, I know that, but I haven't gotten anywhere in my practice. It's so ingrained. Or sometimes we think, I haven't gotten anywhere in my practice, but it's happening so slowly and imperceptibly that we actually have, but we don't realize it.
Yeah, I think, in different ways in that talk, Ajahn Chah kept on pointing back towards balance as well. Like the whole first part of it, he was really talking about sitting, walking, wear a path, wear a groove in your walking path until it comes up on either sides of you, that kind of thing. But then he would also balance that with, you need to know your own measure, need to know what's right, whether it's, the formal practice or whether it's sleeping, food. Just kept on pointing back to, evaluating the effect that it has, knowing your own mind, not always relying on a specific formula or a specific method or a specific teacher, but constantly evaluating the effect that whatever you're doing has, a certain effect, and you need to know it for yourself, and not to get caught up in views and opinions about, what's right, what's wrong, but just to watch the mind and the reaction to the practice.
Ajahn, have you, or either of the Ajahns, or any of the Ajahns, has anyone ever tried that practice of waking up like after just a single stretch, whether it's like 11 o'clock at night or 1 in the morning? Have you tried that?
I put some effort into doing that in the first few years, but I realized that it wasn't working for me because I generally have to urinate after about 2 hours of sleep, and 2 hours of sleep wasn't enough. So it didn't make sense, for me, just because of the nature of my bladder. But I don't know about anybody else who has bigger bladder.
I've tried it sometimes, but just very short periods of time with not much success. I've been able to do it 1 or 2 days and then would revert back to rolling over once or twice. But I like the way Ajahn took it on for a while, and he said he did that practice for a period of time. If he woke up after 1, that was his. If he woke up before that, then he would make a point of going back to sleep. But if he woke up after that, he would stay up if it was just 1 stretch. I can report that last night if I was following that practice last night, I would have slept for 9 hours because I was asleep for 9 hours without waking up a single time. So sometimes it might have a negative effect as well in terms of if you're gang at sleeping, then you could sleep for like 8 hours and not wake up at all.
Ajahn Chah probably didn't have access to like caffeine much, did he? When he was like a young monk.
Betel nut?
Well, betel nut. He chewed betel nut, and they had access to tea and coffee, plain tea and coffee. Yeah, even in the early days. But I mean, they wouldn't drink it like any time like we do. Like, it was harder to come by. So like the very old Nampana style, like you'll read about in the Luang Por Chah book, is like once every 3 days they would have Nampana. Other than that, it was just water. Just because it was more poor. in the old days, harder to come by. And then when they did have a drink, it was just a kettle of plain coffee or a kettle of plain cocoa or tea. Sugar was really hard to come by in the old days. Or like a kettle of like Borapet or medicinal herbal drink, which would make you feel really good after you drank it. But I don't think they relied on it. They relied mostly on their own effort. I mean, you see old monks now going to visit Luang Por Chah. I mean, not this Thai trip, but when I was in Thailand last, he's 85 years old, and when you're talking to him, he's chewing betel nut the whole time. He's got his huge betel nut kit, and he's the whole time you're talking to him, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 hours, he's cutting the raw betel nuts and kind of stuffing it in his mouth, and talking to you, and saying, oh, can barely understand what he's saying. Spitting out red betel nut juice into his spittoon the whole time. But I think, yeah, these old monks, that's how they get their energy. Like, they 85 years old, Luang Por Chah might not have any energy if he didn't chew betel nut all the time. When he travels abroad, he carries a suitcase, which is just his betel nut.
Okay.